Welcome to the Omnia Sol Art Show, the glitch art video podcast that all of your friends and family members are talking about. Episode. Hello, everyone out there in the land of the internet. I, of course, am your host, Omnia Sol. Welcome to another episode of the Omnia Sol Art Show, also known as TOSAS. I've been trying to figure out how to title these episodes, if I should just title them TOSAS, TOSAS, or if I should keep it with the full title, the Omnia Sol Art Show, or if, since my YouTube channel is already titled the Omnia Sol Art Show, if I should just go ahead and drop the extra title altogether and just call it Episode 8, The Blue Marble. But I haven't figured that out. What I should do is reach out to some popular YouTubers, do some research, and see what they're doing. See if they are just putting the full title to their show on every episode, or if they just have the number and episode title. See what works best for them. My main hesitation on just doing TOSAS is because a good friend of mine, Parker, when I reached out to some friends to see their opinions on this, she said that TOSAS, TOSAS, looked like every time she saw it, she just thought of toe sauce. And, you know, this isn't the Toe Jam and Earl fan club. We can't just be going around having people think the show is called Toe Sauce when it's TOSAS. Rhymes gnosis. But yeah, still figuring that out. Anyways, I hope that everyone had a wonderful week. We are back for another episode. Tonight we are glitching a variety of footage. We've got some footage from this VHS I got at a Salvation Army in St. Louis, Missouri. That's called Los Grandes Eventos du... I can't read Spanish, but anyways, in Spanish it translates to the great events of our century. And then the title of this tape is Liberté, or Liberty, or Freedom. And it's all about the byline is a century of protest, of passive resistance, and civil rights. So we are glitching some footage from that. And when I first got this tape, I was very interested to see what was on it, because the cover looked really cool. It had, some very historic pictures that I thought looked interesting. I thought, would have some interesting content on it, only to find that unfortunately somehow this tape was damaged. I don't know if it's dust on the tape or if it got too close to a magnet or what happened to it before it was donated. But however, even without the glitching, the tape itself is kind of unwatchable. There's just some very interesting natural glitches just from static kind of taking over the entire image, and the audio, which of course so I looked it up, and this was a series that was put out in English too, but this is the French Canadian version. But yeah, I guess what I found interesting is the amount of natural glitches, even without using my video processor. And I actually used some of this footage on my YouTube channel. The music video for the song Enoch is all taken from footage that I didn't even glitch on top of it. It's just footage of how the tape naturally looks that I then slowed down and turned into that music video. But I hope you appreciate it. It's very interesting visually, as far as when historic leaders pop up. I don't necessarily, I try to cut out anything that I thought was just like in poor taste. It is a documentary, so it is historical footage though. So I just want to put the disclaimer that I don't condone, if someone pops up on the screen that you don't like or you don't agree with, that I don't know who it is. I don't condone everything. I know that I know that I don't even know if the footage happened, but there's one of like Gandhi's speeches, and Gandhi, of course, was considered a very important figure, but as more things come out about his life, the less people like him, which is understandable. Anyways, we are going to glitch some footage from the popcorn classic Superman the movie, as well as the introduction has me glitching a photograph of the Earth. This is the photograph where the title of the episode gets its name. It is the blue marble photograph from, what is the year on that? Sorry, I should have had this tab open before. So 1972, this was one of the first images of the Earth taken in 1972 from the Apollo 17 spacecraft. And what I really, really like about this image, and what I want to address conceptually in the episode, is the concept of the blue marble. As you may or may not know, with the space race, of course, we were trying to get to, the U.S. was trying to get to the moon, was trying to compete with the Soviet Union to get to space and to get to the moon. And the main reason for this competition was because of the Cold War. They were trying to prove that capitalism was somehow better than the Soviet communism. The funny thing, though, is that NASA was completely subsidized by the U.S. government, which most people would consider socialism, since capitalism, private enterprises, with the exception of like SpaceX, which, Elon Musk is going to try to leave us behind. But what, so I don't think they really did what they were trying to do. One thing that did come out of it, though, is that when the astronauts saw the Earth for the first time, they had somewhat of a spiritual awakening, where the borders that separate us and countries dissolve. You see us, you realize that as human beings, all this individuality, all this ego that we have it's from liberalism. It's this liberal bullshit that puts us into these tiny individual categories, and we negate the fact that we are all a part of one thing, part of one being. You are a cell in a bigger being. We are all connected. We are all here on this earth together. So I want to take that concept and I want you to think about it. Take this week and think about it. Think about how you might think your life is insignificant, but despite, no matter what you do, you are part of a greater trajectory in history, because you are a cell of a greater being, which is the Earth. And the next step for us as a species, not just as humans, but for life in general on Earth, I think, is to go to the stars, is to go to the cosmos. We are an interstellar being, and we are still, in our adolescent phase. And it's time as a species, as a life force, to grow the fuck up and unite and make this world a better place. So that was my little soapbox. Anyways, we're going to be doing this episode a little bit differently than normally. I am actually going to go ahead and move our first section, switch things around, and we're going to do our first section as words, as opposed to, usually I do what am I drinking tonight. Tonight we're going to do the reading first. So without further ado, it's time for words. It's time for words. It's time for words. So the reading for words today comes from a Grant Morrison interview that I referenced in the November 8th live show. And I will go ahead and link the interview in the show notes tonight. But the reason I want to use this for words. I think Grant Morrison, author of comics such as The Invisibles, and they have also done more mainstream work for Marvel and DC, kind of puts time in perspective better than anyone that I have read in both kind of philosophy and so I just want to share some of Grant's words from this interview. We can't see any direction in time. We can't see back and we can't see forward. We can remember back and imagine forward, but that's it. We're trained to feel like individuals, so we don't actually see ourselves as the extended process that we are. Shapeshifters who transform through decades from small, plump baby things to large, horny, muscular teenagers to hardworking middle-aged adults and finally desiccated seniors dying on beds. If we sped that up and showed one human life over 10 minutes, it would be a body horror werewolf transformation more outrageous and horrifying than any seen on screen. But to me, it's like the color of the sky. It's so self-evident that to see a bird fly past the window is to imagine its skipping solid trail through the medium of time. In time, we are all connected. There's no denying that. There's nothing mystical about any of this. I'm talking about stuff that is simply real. Imagination can give you the ability to look backwards and forward. So when you run it backwards, think how your grown-up, mature body was once smaller, less massive, less capable of interacting with the environment. That's real. Run it back to the beginnings of life on Earth, and it's clear that we are all one thing, a singular organism made of many parts, just like a human body with its billions of individual skin cells, which die and fall off from the body every day. So what does that mean? If people learned this in school, if we understood and accepted we are all the same fucking thing, it might help prevent the collapse into mad division that's occurring just now. It's just a matter of perspective that could change everything. But the organism we're part of might be sick. Who knows? When cells in a body turn against one another and the system supports them starts breaking down, it's cancer. So yeah, that's just a snippet of a very long an interesting Grant Morrison interview, but you can kind of see how it fits in with the theme of the blue marble. So I really hope you enjoyed that segment of It's time for words. It's time for words. It's time for words. All right, folks, we are going to go ahead and play our first song of the night. We're going to do something a little differently. Haven't done it this way on the show before, but we are going to go ahead and use only my music this show. So you can find my music at omniasolart.bandcamp.com. And this is a song from my first full-length album that came out in 2018. Well, I guess my everything I've done since has been either an EP or a single. So this is my only full album that came out in 2018. The song is called The Spectre is Haunting. And I hope you like it. If you do like it, check it out on Bandcamp. And I hope to have new music coming soon. We'll be back with you after the song.
When Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels wrote the Communist Manifesto in a small proletarian bar in Brussels, Belgium, they weren't just writing the manifesto. They weren't just creating the historical document that we know changed all of history. No. They did more than that. In the first lines when they talked about how a specter of communism was haunting Europe. They weren't just being metaphorical. Through this sentence, knowingly or unknowingly, they created an egregore, a god form, if you will. This egregore is the connection of every living and dead communist. It is the communal ghost of every living and dead communist. It lives because we live. It lives. It lives. It struggles because we struggle. It struggles with us. It is the global brain that can be tapped into. Easiest way to tap into this is translation consciousness. Think something like your first orgasm or your first protest. Not even your first protest. Every protest you've ever been to. Even huge amounts of fear of police repercussions can spark this trance state of consciousness, which is also known as becoming possessed by the specter of communism. Maybe through this specter, the revolution can be successful. We can create a world worth living in. Now we know that this is not the only option. We know things could end up a lot worse than they already are, but we also know that through struggle, anything is possible. Workers of the world, unite. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
And we are back. That was The Spectre is Haunting by me, Omnia Sol, and you can find it at omniasolart.bandcamp.com off the album This Was Not a Mistake. So go, if you like it, go check it out. We are going to go ahead and move to our next segment, which was usually our first segment of the show, but today it's our second segment. So it is time for What am I drinking tonight? So tonight I am drinking a nice, delicious sparkling water. This is a can of pineapple sparkling water, and gotta say it's delicious. Not sponsored, so not gonna say the brand name until they pay me. That's just how it works, folks. But it's delicious. Yeah, pineapple sparkling water. I give it 5 out of 5 cans of sparkling water. So if you see a pineapple flavor in stores, check it out. It could be as good as the one I'm drinking right now. And that was What am I drinking tonight? So part of the reason I wanted to juxtapose this footage of a historical documentary of liberation struggles with Superman. One, you have the famous scene in Superman 1, if this episode is the blue marble, you have the famous scene of where Superman goes back in time by reversing the Earth's orbit, by spinning around the Earth a bunch and reversing its orbit to reverse it, which of course makes no sense whatsoever, like scientifically speaking, but you do get that beautiful shot of Superman flying around the Earth multiple times. So one, it has the Earth, but for me, Superman is such an important not necessarily an important franchise, but an important idea. Like going back to how we had Grant Morrison for the words section. For Grant Morrison, Superman represented this ideal where the nuclear bomb was an idea and Superman was an idea. And he sees Superman as a better idea. This alien force that came from a complete outsider who came into our world and was raised in our world. And it's not a some people mistake Superman for a messiah myth. You see this a lot in the Man of Steel movie and all that Zack Snyder bullshit, but it's not at all. It was a character created by two Jewish immigrants, and it very much is an immigrant story. And he draws his power from the sun. If anything, he's a more of a solar deity than Jesus Christ, than the mythology of Jesus Christ. It's more, he's more related to Apollo than he is to Jesus, I would say. And when Superman stories are written well, they tap into that. Especially speaking of Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman, great, because he writes it from the perspective of Superman as this Greek deity of Apollo. And what if Apollo was real? He'd be a superhero. So check that out. That's a reading recommendation. But yeah, I think that this footage goes well together. I don't know. We'll see. Sound off in the comments if you like this episode, I guess. We're going to go ahead and play our second song of the night. This is another song from yours truly, Omnia Sol. The song is off the EP called Death, and the song is called Headless. So check it out, omniasolart.bandcamp.com, and the link will be in the show notes as well. But we'll be back with you after the song, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Omnia Sol art show. That was the song Headless by your host, Omnia Sol, and you can find that at omniasolart.bandcamp.com, and I'll throw the link in the show notes as well, off the EP Death. So now, of course, we have the famous scene of Superman flying around the Earth multiple times, turning time back in time and saving Lois Lane. Don't think that works scientifically, but it is a very cool scene, and we get to see a cinematic rendition of the beautiful blue marble, our Earth that we call home. And one thing that I want to say about the photograph of the blue marble, the original one, compared to NASA did some later ones, and I am not in charge of NASA. I don't think I'll ever be in charge of NASA. That's kind of out of my expertise and out of my pay grade. However, one thing I want to say about the photograph of the blue marble is that the later ones that they've done, where they've done composite images of the Earth, and it's not every country. Japan has done some really good pictures, but NASA, for whatever reason, feels the need to Photoshop the colors of the Earth and make the oceans look like they're jello blue, and I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it for a number of reasons. One, I think that's just dishonest. I think you should try to make the pictures of the Earth, if they're going to be scientific images and not artist renditions, they should be as accurate as possible for a couple of reasons. One, just to be honest of what that Earth actually looks like. Two, so then you don't have all these fucking flat earthers running around say that all the photos are fake, because they look fake, because the ocean looks like jello blue. If you look at the original one from the 70s, I forget what the date I said, 1977 or something like that. Anyways, that one looks real. And the composite ones, the newer ones, they edit the colors, and they also try to make it so there's less clouds so you can see more of the Earth. I say leave the clouds in there. Leave the clouds in there. We're a very cloudy planet. We've got a beautiful atmosphere with a lot of clouds. Leave the clouds in there. That's my 2 cents on the blue planet pictures of the Earth. We're going to go ahead and do our next segment of the show, which is a fan favorite of the show. We usually do it second. Now we're doing it third for this episode. I'm going to keep switching it up episode to episode. I might even add some new segments. There might be a new segment called What's Going On With My Life, where I just talk about what's going on in my life, or, how's my job going, and I'll just riff on my day job. Who knows? There's going to be the future is bright and bold, and there will be a plethora of new segments we can't even imagine yet, maybe coming on the Omnia Sol art show. But we're going to go ahead and do our card of the show, which is the part of the show where I read your fortune. So get ready. It's time for
Card of the show.
All right. So if you're new to the show, my advice about card of the show is to, when I'm shuffling, think of a question that is on your mind, and then the card will be your card. I do a 1-card draw from the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, and I use the Centennial Edition because I really like the colors on the Centennial Edition. But think, and I don't read reversals. That's the other thing I want to say. But think of a question that you have on your mind while I'm shuffling, and whatever card I pull will be your answer, and I'll give you the meaning of the card, and you can relate it to your life. And if you have a question that you want answered on the show, if you want your tarot read, I also have a phone number. It is 262-612-3069, and that phone number will be in the show notes as well. But you can call in. It's a Google Voice number, so you can leave a message, and I can read your tarot on the show if you have a specific question. But so this is your card of the show. Shuffle number 1. Shuffle number 2. Sorry. Gotta get it right. Get it right. Get it tight. Shuffle number 3. So your card of the show for this blue marble episode of the Omnia Sol art show is, without further ado, the 5 of Pentacles. And on this card, you see a stained glass window, kind of maybe outside of a church, but it's got like pentacles, which are coins with pentagrams, like stars in them. And there's 5 in this window, and you see some kind of downtrodden people walking along, and you think maybe like, hey, why isn't the church like, when I see it, my first thought is, why isn't the church helping these downtrodden people that clearly need some financial help to help get them back on their feet, and they're not getting the help they need? That's my first thought that I see. And I also see it's kind of associated with winter. There's snow on the ground, and it looks to be like snowing in the picture. But here is what the book has to say about the card. 5 of Pentacles. Destitute, loneliness, loss, unemployment, parted lovers, affinity through adversity, dark night of the soul. Things do not look good for you at the moment. Perhaps you have a failed business, or have lost your job, or maybe you have lost a loved one, or just broken up an important relationship. This is when you find out who you really are. This is the time of the dark night of the soul. Now is a good time to analyze your limitations. Even though things may look bad now, there is solace in companionship and in a more spiritual way of life. Others who are in the same situation may be there to help you through this situation. Yeah, so I would say keep your head up. Keep doing what you're doing. You may have, depending on what your question was, you may have a dark night of the soul ahead of you. But the thing about dark night of the souls is that they never last forever. It's always a temporary misfortune that you know, on the positive side, maybe this dark night of the soul is an initiation, and you have something better on the other side. But either way, you know, take some time for yourself. Maybe get some ice cream, you know, a little treat. Maybe watch your favorite TV show, but don't be too hard on yourself. Depending on it seems like you got a lot on your plate right now, so don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself. And we're going to get through this dark night of the soul together. And that was your
Card of the show.
As you can probably tell from the card of the show little audio titles, I switched it up. I changed it. I re-recorded it using the big chorus auto-tune as opposed to the regular auto-tune. And I'm really happy with it, to be honest. I think it sounds really good. It sounds really profesh, you know, abbreviated to from professional, profesh. Nowadays we abbreviate everything. But I hope you like it too. If you do like it, sound off in the comments. And, you know, we're going to go ahead and play our third song of the show, I think is what we're going to go ahead and do. So this is, as I said earlier in the show, this episode is all going to be my music, which future episodes will feature other artists as I've done in the past. But today as you can tell, this episode is coming out later than usual anyway, so my apologies on that. But a good combination of technical difficulties with good old-fashioned procrastination, and I just, you know, it's a lot of work booking musicians. And if you are a musician and you want your music on the show, I am more than willing to make it happen. Reach out to me, email me at omniasolart@gmail.com, and I'll also be having like a website, hopefully coming soon in the near future, where everything will be streamlined, because I have a feeling that the majority of social media is on its way out. I am on Twitter, but that is very much a word medium. And my art doesn't do well there. Instagram, my art used to do okay, but it seems like with every update, it just gets more and more buried by the algorithm because I'm not posting selfies and I'm not an influencer. I'm a very niche DIY glitch art TV show on YouTube, and Instagram really doesn't like anything that is linked outside of their shithole app. So, you know, shows like me don't fare well on Instagram. So I think the future of artists is one, networking with each other, and this show is syndicated by Locus Review, so that is a good start. But I think a lot of it is artists going back to just regular websites, and if there's a way to socially network these websites together, that's a fucking billion-dollar idea, because I guess everything's run by fucking billionaire tech companies nowadays. Anyways, not to rant. What I wanted to say is that this episode is featuring all my music because I didn't get around to booking artists for this episode. And I think it's good. I think it's refreshing to have, it's the Omnia Sol art show. It's refreshing to have an episode where all the music is Omnia Sol. It makes my life easier in the sense of I'm just promoting myself, but also like I don't have to like figure out the right tags for everything. It makes my life easier. I think it'll be a nice way to present new music. I've done that in the past where I've released new songs on the show that have not been released anywhere before, and I want to continue to do that, continue to work creatively, and continue to make this show my, I don't know if main creative outlet is the right word, but a huge creative outlet for me on multiple levels, not just visually, but also auditorily, if that's a word. Anyways, the next song we're going to play is on my Bandcamp. I released it as a single a couple years ago. I don't remember what year. The song is called Vision Board. You can find it at omniasolart.bandcamp.com. The link will be in the show notes. Check it out. Show me some love if you like it. The best way to show me some love, if you like the song, obviously you can buy it on Bandcamp. I have the MP3 forever. Download as many times as you want. But the best way to support the show is patreon.com/omniasolart. But I should have saved plugging for the end of the shows, but I got ahead of myself. Anyways, here's a song. We'll be back with you after the jump, which I still don't know what that means. What does that mean? After the jump? What does that mean? It just sounds like a cool thing that radio DJs say. What the fuck does it mean? I could say after the song, but I said this, I'm just going to keep it. It's going to be my catchphrase. After the jump is my official catchphrase of the Omnia Sol art show. Anyways, enjoy the song. Goodbye. and we are back. That was the song Vision Board by me, Omnia Sol. You can find that at omniasol.bandcamp.com. And we are coming up at the end of the episode. So thanks once again for tuning in to the Omnia Sol Art Show. If you like the show, you can support it on Patreon, patreon.com/omniasolart. And if you want to go ahead and do me a favor, as the typical YouTube catchphrase goes, like and subscribe to the show. New episodes every week. My apologies again that this episode was a little late, but that won't happen in the future. At least I don't plan on it happening in the future. And if it does, I will let you know ahead of time. Anyways, hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care, everyone, and remember, we're all on this blue marble together.